ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So I welcome everyone for this discussion. His Grace Pradyumna Prabhu asked me to speak from the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhuji is one of my loving superiors, and His Grace Pradyumna Prabhu has been serving for so many decades in the Baltimore community. Very senior, sincere Vaishnav. So Prabhuji's instruction was to speak something from the 7th canto, especially preparing our consciousness for Narsingha Chaturdashi. And I know Prabhuji likes prayers and a lot of verses and nice songs from our acharyas. So I was thinking today we will discuss from the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. So I request devotees to kindly pull up the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. If you have Srimad Bhagavatam with you as a physical copy, that's wonderful. Or else you can always pull up the Srimad Bhagavatam reference through Veda base online. So this is again Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, entitled Prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. It's a very long section. Prahlad Maharaj has offered many prayers, but depending on how much time we have, we will try to go that far. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram jaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatho jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Shrunvatam swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtana riddhyantastoya bhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam. कृष्णे स्वधामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह कलौ नष्टदृशामेतस् पुराणार्काधुनोदितः. So these are all invocation prayers offering obeisances to Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the king of all scriptures, non-different from Krishna himself. All the different forms of the Vedic texts, they're all like different incarnations of the Supreme Lord, but Srimad Bhagavatam is Sakshat Bhagavan. He is Krishna himself. And Srimad Bhagavatam has many themes, many wonderful pastimes, many wonderful sections. And certainly the section of Prahlad Maharaj is something that is unparalleled. We can see that the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam has 5 chapters on the Rasa Leela. But for Prahlad Maharaj section, there are 10 chapters. 5 chapters for Rasa Leela in the 10th canto, and 10 chapters for Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. So I repeat that again for those who haven't heard it before. There are only 5 chapters in the 10th canto for the gopis, for the Rasa Leela. But in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 chapters, which means Shukadev Goswami has given twice the amount of time for Prahlad Maharaj than that what he has given for the gopis. This is very important to understand. Although to get to the realm of Vrindavan and to worship Radha and Krishna in the realm of Vrindavan, in Braj Bhav, in the mode of the Brajvasis, is the aim, is the goal. But still, without going through the 7th canto and the nectar of the 7th canto, we cannot actually enter the 10th canto. Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto represents unbelievable surrender. He's 5 years old and is pushed to the limits of faith and surrender, and he passes the test with flying colors. Prahlad Maharaj is tortured in all ways possible by his demoniac father, Asura Varya. Hiranyakashipu is called the best of the demons, so he was really very demoniac. The Asuric Pravriti was very prabal, very strong in him. In fact, the 7th canto represents a certain theme. We know the Srimad Bhagavatam is a Mahapuran, and for any scripture to be a Mahapuran, there must be 10 subject matters being discussed. So especially the 7th canto represents a subject matter called as Uti. Every canto represents a certain subject matter, but that we will keep it for some other discussion. 7th canto very specifically deals with a subject matter called as Uti. Uti means Shubh, Ashubh, Vasana or Ichha. Very auspicious and very inauspicious desires. So what does that mean? Utayaha, which means the root word is Uti, but when you have to use it in dual case, so Shubh, Ashubh, Ichha. In 7th canto, there are two personalities who come face to face. Who are they? Hiranyakashipu represents Ashubh Ichha, and Prahlad Maharaj represents Shubh Ichha, Shubh Vasana. All of us have these two aspects in us. We have the auspicious, the very nice, very devotional perspective in us, and the side in us. And we also have the Ashubh Vasana Yukta Swabhav. We have the characteristic which are not very devotional. So Hiranyakashipu represents the Ashubh Ichha, and Prahlad Maharaj represents the Shubh Ichha, and both of them come face to face in the 7th canto. Now, how to achieve these two and how to stay away from, so how to achieve the Shubh Vasana, Shubh Ichha, at the same time how to achieve the Ashubh Ichha, and how to stay away from the Ashubh Ichha, and in a demoniac way, how to stay away from the Shubh Ichha, all of that has been explained in the 7th canto. Like for example, how did Prahlad develop the Shubh Ichha? It is because while he was in the womb of his mother Kayadhu, Narada Muni spoke Harikatha to the mother, and through the mother's hearing, the child Prahlad in the womb of his mother, he gained those impressions from Narada Muni, which means if you associate with great souls, even if you don't see them, very interesting. Prahlad Maharaj did not even see his Gurudev while Prahlad was in the womb. So even if you don't see a great soul, but if you give your ear to that great soul, then you will develop Shubh Ichha. You will develop very auspicious, very devotional desires in your heart. On the other hand, how to develop Ashubh Ichha? How did Hiranyakashipu become Hiranyakashipu? We know Jai and Vijay were cursed to become demons by the 4 Kumaras. Jai and Vijay are the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. And it's a very famous story where they get cursed by the 4 Manasputra, the 4 sons born out of the mind of Brahmaji. That is the 4 Kumaras. And by the curse of those great sadhus, Jai and Vijay became Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So very interesting. How to develop Shubh Vasana, how to develop Shubh Ichha, positive auspicious desires, or just associate with someone like Narada Muni, and even if you don't see him, attentively hear. This is very important because during the COVID lockdown and the global pandemic, we are not able to see the great souls in person, but we can still zoom in and hear great, wonderful Vaishnavas speaking. So we can develop Shubh Ichha, we can develop the Shubh Vasana by hearing from those great souls. On the other hand, how to develop Ashubh Ichha like Hiranyakashipu? Even if we are Jai and Vijay, even if we are great souls, if we displease other Vaishnavas, like Jai and Vijay displease the 4 Kumaras, and if we get cursed by them, which means if we displease great souls, and as a result in their heart they are not happy, then naturally we will fall from our position and develop a Shubh Ichha. So we will get Shubh Ichha the impression like Prahlad Maharaj if we hear from great souls like Narada Muni, and we will develop Ashubh Ichha like Hiranyakashipu. Although we may be very good like Jai and Vijay, if we displease great Vaishnavas in the form of the four Kumaras and displease them, and in their heart they are not very happy and they curse, then we will fall. So Ashubh Ichha comes by Vaishnava Parad or displeasing Vaishnavas. And Shubh Ichha comes by serving Vaishnavas, by hearing from them, by associating with them. So this whole seventh canto represents Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, people of opposite natures coming face to face. And very wonderfully, Shukdev Goswami, he glorifies Prahlad Maharaj and he says, Tam sarva bhutam atma bhutam prashantam samadarshinaha bhagavat tejasa sprishtam. These are the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj given in the seventh canto, in the first chapter of the seventh canto. First of all, Shukadev Goswami describes Prahlad Maharaj as Prahlādam Keshava Priyam. He says, who was Prahlad? Keshava Priya. Now the word Keshava Priya can be interpreted in either way. Keshavasya Priya, Keshava Priya Yasya Saha. There are two ways in which this word Keshava Priya can be broken in Sanskrit. Prabhupada explains in one very wonderful class that in Sanskrit grammar, any word can be, any specific compound can be broken in multiple ways. And this specific Sanskrit compound, Keshava Priya, can be broken in two ways. For those who have some background in Sanskrit, this may appetize you a bit. Keshava Priya can refer to Keshavasya Priyaha, which means one meaning is he who is dear to Keshava, he who is dear to Vishnu. Or another meaning is he for whom Vishnu was dear. Keshava Priya in Hindi, if you have to interpret, it will be जो केशव के प्रिय हैं या जिनको केशव प्रिय लगते हैं. दोनों अर्थ लागू पड़ता है. Both ways of interpretation are correct. One is called a Shashti Tatpurush Samas, one is called as a Bahuvrihi Samas. So in this way, the word Keshava Priya, Shukdev Goswami describes Prahlādam Keshava Priyam. That Prahlad Maharaj was Keshava Priya. He was very dear to Keshava, and Keshava Krishna was very dear to his heart, both ways. And what were some qualities of Prahlad? Why is it that he was so dear to Vishnu? And why is it that his heart was the abode of devotion for Vishnu? It says, Tam Sarva Bhutam Atma Bhutam. First of all, he saw Vishnu in all living beings. This was the first characteristic of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj could see Vishnu in every living being, in everybody's heart, at all circumstances. Sthavara Jangama Dekhe na Dekhe Tara Murti. Sarvatra hoy nij Ishtadeva Spurti. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes a great soul as he who never forgets Krishna. Interesting. A conditioned soul is he who hardly remembers Krishna. And when he remembers, he feels, I am a great devotee. But actually, a pure Vaishnava is he who never forgets Krishna. And when he forgets Krishna, he burns in regret. My Lord, how did I forget you? Right? So this is the definition coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarvatra hoy nija Ishtadeva Spurti. A great soul is he who sees only Vishnu or Krishna in all directions. And Prahlad Maharaj has been described like that. Tam sarva bhutam atma bhutam. In everybody he saw the Paramatma. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, he who sees me everywhere. Such a person never loses me. I am never lost to him and he never loses me. Krishna is mutually saying that such a devotee is dear to me and to him I am dear. Someone who's always able to see me in all circumstances. Even in the 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, in the category of advancement of devotion, this has been mentioned that Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashyet Bhagavan Bhavam Atmanaha Bhutani Bhagavatyatmani Esha Bhagavatottama. That someone who can see Krishna, Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashyet, he who sees in all living beings, Bhagavat Bhavam Atmanaha, that living entity who can do Bhagavat Bhav, he who can see that every living being, every body is actually a temple, and everybody's heart is the altar. And Krishna as the super soul is the deity. I repeat, everybody, whether it is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane, or Gavi, or Hastini, or Shuni, or Shwapak, in everyone, Panditaha Samadarshina, a great soul is he who can see Krishna. Krishna as the deity installed in the altar of the heart, and the body is the temple. Mama mana mandire roho nishidina Krishna Murari Shri Krishna Murari তবে প্রেম প্রদীপে আরতি তোমার নয়ন যমুনা ঝরে অনিবার নয়ন যমুনা ঝরে অনিবার তোমার বিরহে গিরিধারী তোমার বিরহে গিরিধারী Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari. So there also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, Bhakti Priti Mala Chandan, Tumi Niyo He Niyo Chitanandan. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Mama Mana Mandire Roho Nishidina. Hey Krishna, please live in the altar of my heart, in the temple of my body. Please never leave. Tumi niyo he niyo. Oh, please come here and I worship you. Bhakti. Prema pradeepe arati tumar. I am doing arati with what? Ghee lamp. Prem pradeep. With the lamp of my affection. So in this way, Prahlad Maharaj had this quality of Sarva Bhuteshu Yaha Pashyat Bhagavan Bhavamatmana. He could see Krishna in all circumstances. And we know the pillar is the proof. Very wonderful. We go to the temple, we see the deity, but we don't see Krishna. We see the deity, and we have faith that Krishna is in the deity, or Krishna is the deity, but we don't see Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj always saw Krishna. Now, the pillar or the column in the palace of Hiranyakashipu is not something that is actually worshipable. You don't find any vidhi where pillars are worshipped. But Prahlad Maharaj could see Narasimhadev even in that pillar. And on the other hand, when Narasimhadev actually appeared, Hiranyakashipu could not see the Lord. His head was touching Brahmalok and the lotus feet was in Patal, and he was thinking, what is this? And what yoni or what form of, what species of Brahma's creation is this? I have never seen a lion on the top and body of a human. So that's our consciousness. We could see the deity and think, what is he made up of? Right? Hiranyakashipu had the same mentality. When he saw Narasimhadev, he was thinking, who made this and what is he made up of? Is he a lion or is he a human? Sometimes we see the deity and say, Ashtadhatu or Panchadhatu, or is this made out of this metal or made out of brass, or what is the deity made up of? So that we should not think, because that is Hiranyakashipu mentality. On the other hand, if we are able to see Krishna in all circumstances, in the deity, even not in the deity, even in the living beings, devotees, non-devotees, circumstances, reversals, then that is Prahlad consciousness. So this is something that made Prahlad very dear to the Supreme Lord. So we have to understand why Prahlad is dear to Keshava. Why is he Keshava Priya? Because he could see Keshava in all circumstances. So point number one, if we somehow or the other bring in this habit of seeing Krishna in all circumstances, we will be very dear to him. Point number one. Point number two, Prashantam. Prahlad Maharaj has been described as someone who was always very peaceful. So there is Shanta and there is Prashanta. Shanta means when everything is going good and you're peaceful. That is Shanta. And there are some people who can't even do that. Even when everything is very peaceful, everything is very favorable, still they're agitated. What if this happens? What if that happens? But wait a minute. If he comes, then he will say this. If she comes, they will ask this. If this kind of fear and anxiety is there, then we are not even Shanta. There is lamentation of the past and hankering of the future and fear of existence. So we are not even Shanta. But there are some people, sane people, who are Shanta when everything is going good. And they get agitated when there is a cause of agitation. Let's say everything is peaceful and favorable, they're Shanta. But if someone provokes them, agitates them, then they get agitated. But prashanta means even when there are a million reasons to get agitated, if the person is peaceful, that pleases Krishna. Now that is second quality of Prahlad Maharaj. Tam sarva bhutam atma bhutam. Point number one. Second, prashantam. Even if there are a million reasons to get agitated, to get provoked, to get irritated, if the person thinks, my Lord, I know you are like, you can see sometimes in martial arts, the sir, the teacher is teaching the student. He tells the student, picks on a student and says, come fight me. It's just practice time. So the student is trying to punch and hold and kick, and the sir puts him down and pins him. So the student, if he starts thinking that, oh, my sir doesn't like me, my teacher doesn't like me, he hates me, that's why he pinned me down, that's why he punched me. Well, that's not the actual understanding. The actual understanding is he hit me and punched me in such a way so that I can learn. These are my weaknesses. I didn't know how to hold. I didn't know how to protect myself. So he's teaching me. And then when I'm down, the professor doesn't really, not the professor, but the teacher doesn't really want to hurt me, but he wants to make sure that he teaches me. I learn. So we have to understand that life is all about a martial art practice. And Krishna is the martial arts teacher. And different personalities around us, they're all different students in that martial arts practice training. So the teacher can sometimes take a student from here and student from here and say, okay, both of you fight, let me observe. And I want to teach who's doing good and how you're punching, how you're kicking, how you're holding, how you're protecting. So different personalities around in life, they're all part of the same martial arts training, and Krishna is the teacher. So sometimes we are on the top and sometimes we are on the bottom. But if we understand, Krishna is putting us through that training only to make us stronger, so that we become good fighters ultimately. So in this way, we will never hold any grudge against, like for example, in a martial arts training, that one student doesn't hold grudge against the other, that how dare you punch me like that? Well, it's just practice, it's training time. So it's about who does a better job. So Krishna as the teacher is teaching us. If we are able to see that, then prashantam, we will not get agitated. And agitation comes because when I have a certain desire and that is not fulfilled, therefore I get agitated. But when we keep ourselves as an empty vessel, whatever Krishna gives, oh Krishna, this is what is best for me. When we think we are very intelligent and our planning is better than God, that is when we get agitated, because we think that, oh, the way I planned and the way I thought is not what's the reality. But on the other hand, if we think, Krishna, you know me better. I don't remember my past lives. I don't remember what I did to whom and why. But you remember all of that, and you're just giving me a small, rice grain like sinful reaction just to help me. Tattenu kampam susamikshamaano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam rit vak vapubhir vidadhan namaste jiveti yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. Very, very important words. Canto 10, chapter 14, text 8. Brahmaji has said, whenever there are reversals, if we think, my Lord, this is the best that could have happened to me. I deserve way more, but you're so kind. You love me so much. You have so much affection for me that you're just giving me a small portion because you know I can't take the reactions that I deserve. I don't have the ability to even take that. So you're so kind to just reduce it and give it to me. In this way, the person is always grateful. One very great saint from Maharashtra, he bathed in the Chandrabhaga river in Pandharpur. And he came out, and there was another envious person who was an atheist. So he was sitting on the top, and he spit on top of this saint. And the spit fell on the face. So he wiped and he looked up who that person was, but he didn't say anything. He went and bathed again. He came out, and this man was sitting, and he was thinking, wow, this is quite exciting. He's gone to bathe again. Now when he comes, I will give him my prasad again. So he spit again, or he spat again. And the person was again impure because he had to go and serve the deities. So he thought, I'm polluted again. So he went to bathe. And this person spit 108 times. And the sadhu went and bathed 108 times. And at the end of it, this man, he completely lost all his patience. He came down and offered his obeisances to this great soul and said, oh sadhu, please forgive me. I spit on you 108 times. I'm such a rascal. The sadhu said, no, you have done mercy which I cannot imagine. In the Shastras, it is described if someone bathes in a holy river once, you get so much benefit. So the benefit that I could have accumulated over 3 months or more by one bath a day, you, by your mercy, gave it to me in one day by letting me take a quick dip 108 times. So I'm very grateful. I will never be able to repay you. See? So many such examples. Many such examples. Prahlad Maharaj represents that. Prashantam. Even if there are a million reasons to get agitated, he's always peaceful. Prahlad Maharaj not once in the 7th canto gets provoked. My Lord, are you even there? I'm chanting your names. Is someone sitting up there? Do you even care for me? Not once. And he's not criticizing, what kind of father have you given me? You yourself have nice father like Nanda Maharaj and Dasharath Maharaj, and what kind of father you have given me? No complaint, no blaming, no criticizing, no complaining. Always moving like the river, flow of the river. Even if there are rocks and obstruction, the river flows from the side, never stops flowing. Prahlad Maharaj is a river. How many ever oppositions and obstructions Hiranyakashipu puts in, he flows around. We complain about small things in life. Small things, insignificant things. One time one person came to my Guru Maharaj and said, "Oh Maharaj ji, bhajan nahi hota, bhakti nahi hoti, kuch kar nahi pate. There's no bhajan. Jeevan mein bahut dukh hai. There's a lot of suffering." So Srila Guru Maharaj said, "Did anyone administer poison to you?" Said, "No." "Did anyone attack you with weapons?" "No." "Did anyone push you from top of the cliff?" "No." "Did someone push you into fire?" Said, No. He did not understand where Maharaj is going with this. And Srila Guru Maharaj said, then look at Prahlad Maharaj. He was 5 years old. And it's not some Danta Katha. It's not some Kalpanik, imaginative story. It's the reality. It is the absolute reality. Narad Muni is speaking the story of his own disciple. Narad Muni is speaking in the 7th canto. The speaker is Narad Muni. And Shukdev Goswami is just relaying the message on the banks of the Ganga. But Narad Muni has actually spoken the glories of Prahlad Maharaj at the Rajasuya Yajna of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So you can imagine, Yudhishthir Maharaj is listening and Narad Muni is speaking. And in that assembly, you have personalities like Krishna himself sitting in the Rajasuya Yajna. When Shishupal is killed, this question is asked and the whole story of Prahlad Maharaj has been narrated. So Prahlad is so glorious that the Guru is glorifying the disciple in over 10 chapters. Narad Muni. Narad Muni doesn't do that generally. If you see in Shastra, Narad Muni doesn't walk around describing the glories of his own disciple. Even in the 4th canto, when Dhruva Maharaj's story is there, we can see that Shukdev Goswami is speaking. The story of Mrigari, or story of Valmiki Muni, the story of Vyasadeva. Narad Muni is not speaking. But for Prahlad Maharaj, the Vakta is Narad Muni. Gurudev is speaking about the disciple. And who is listening? Yudhishthira Maharaj, who never speaks false. So he cannot, if it was imaginative story, he would cut it off right then and there. And he would say, wait a minute, don't tell me allegorical stories which are not true. So the speaker is the absolute truth. The listener is the absolute truth. And in the assembly is Krishna, who is Satyam Param Dhimahi. And the story of Prahlad Maharaj is chanted. So we absolutely should not complain. Whatever happens to us, whatever may be the reversal, we should always think, my situation is insignificant. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, आपको तो कोई दुख ही नहीं है. Prahlad Maharaj के जीवन से हमें प्रेरणा मिलनी चाहिए. Prahlad Maharaj struggled so much, but he didn't give up the chanting of the holy name. So Prashantam. And Samadarshanam was the 3rd quality. First quality, we said Sarvabhutam Atma Bhutam. He saw Krishna in everyone. Second quality, we said Prashantam. He was always peaceful. Never agitated. Never agitated. We get agitated by someone thinking something wrong. Like if we get to know that person was thinking like this about you. Not speaking, but he was, I think that's what he thinks about you. And I think that's what he thinks about you. And we get agitated by somebody's thoughts. What to speak of somebody's words? And here Prahlad Maharaj was not even agitated by actions. This is how surrendered somebody can get to Krishna. Krishna, whatever circumstance you put in my life, you have chalked that for me. Do I believe you're always in control? Yes, my Lord, I believe you're always in control. Do I believe that you're more intelligent than me? Oh, yes, my Lord, you're the most intelligent. Do I believe that you never make mistakes? Yes, my Lord, I believe you never make mistakes. Do you believe that I am your best ever well-wishing friend? Yes, my Lord, I believe you're my ever well-wishing friend. So you believe that I am your best friend. You believe that I am always in control, and you believe that I never make mistakes. Then when I throw different circumstances in your life, why are you getting agitated? Because it is good for you. You may not like it, but you need it. Just like the child may not like to study, but he or she needs it. And the parents may sometimes, get heavy and said, if you don't study, you're not going out to play. You're not getting your lunch. And the kid may cry sometimes. But ultimately, the kid realizes that only like 10 years later that, oh, yeah, I think my mother was right. If she didn't put me through that, I would, just walk around like Krishna, running behind cows and playing flute, maybe. I would have nothing to study in Vrindavan. So whatever Krishna puts us through, he's like a parent. So we may cry while being in that situation, but when we make spiritual advancement and look back, we see how wonderfully Krishna takes us in his arms. We were not ready. We did not understand, but he loves us so much that he knows what is good for us. Sarva Bhutam Atma Bhutam, seeing Krishna in all circumstances, Prashantam, always being unagitated. Even when there are sources and reasons to get agitated. Look how much Prahlad Maharaj was tortured. Prahlad Maharaj did not have anybody on his side. If you actually think about it, the Pandavas, they had each other at least. Apart from having Krishna. They had each other. But Prahlad Maharaj was fighting this battle all by himself. And on the other side was Hiranyakashipu, in whose kitchen the demigods were cutting vegetables. That's how powerful he was. All the 330 million demigods were really scared. When Hiranyakashipu used to frown his eyebrow, that's it. Indra was scared. So on one side you have Hiranyakashipu, who was terrorizing the universe. On the other side you have Prahlad, who's 5 years old. According to physical strength, according to ability, according to influence and army and weapons and ammunitions, there's no match absolutely. But why is it that Prahlad still won the battle? Because of one reason. He had Krishna on his side. He trusted Krishna. He had devotion. So if we have devotion in our heart, we have to tolerate whatever may come in our life. And always be humble that, my Lord, I don't deserve what I get. I absolutely don't deserve. You are so kind to give it to me. And never hold any grudge against anyone, and always remembering to chant and remember the Supreme Lord in all circumstances. And the third quality of Prahlad Maharaj was Samadarshana. He was always seeing everyone with Samadarshana. He was seeing everyone with equal vision. Absolutely equal vision. When Shanda and Amarka, his teachers, were saying that you are, I think, associating with our enemies. You are associating with our enemies, not with our friends. Our friends are those who tell you about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hiranyakashipu. But your enemies are those who tell you about some Vishnu. He is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the creator of all creators, the Lord of all lords, the source of all sources, is only one person, Hiranyakashipu. So anyone who tells you about that, that's all of us, is your friend. And everyone else is your enemy. Where are you getting all these opposing ideas from? We don't teach you. We just teach you economics. We teach you warfare. We teach you diplomacy and political approach. But where are you learning all this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam? I think there is some, you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. That is Sadhu Sangha. You're not supposed to do that. You should keep away from sadhus. So Prahlad Maharaj says at that time, "O teachers, I have heard that animals work on the principle of friends and enemies. You see any species in the animal kingdom, oh, this is my species, so it's my friend, but that's a source of fear for me. That's a species I eat, and this is a species who eats me, but these are species who are my family." This is how every animal thinks, right? Think about a deer. The deer thinks about eating grass. The deer thinks about protecting the deer community, but the deer is afraid of the tiger or the lion. Every animal has its own way. This is my family. That is something whom I attack and eat, and he's someone who attacks me and eats. This is how animals think.
Prahlad Maharaj saying, being a human, if we think in the same way, then what's the difference? Ayam nija paro vetti gananam laghuchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudha eva kutumbakam. A great soul is he who sees Krishna as the father, Krishna as the mother, all living beings as the family, and the whole world as one's home. So where is the consideration of he is my enemy? No, wait a minute. Both are part and parcel of Krishna. The same Krishna whom I love, therefore they are dear to Krishna, therefore they are dear to me. So there's no question of enemy. This was the Samadarshanam that Prahlad Maharaj had. He saw everyone beyond the covering of the body. If you see, everyone in some ways is equal, because all of our material bodies are made up of earth, water, fire, air and ether. The Pancha Mahabhutas, Bhumi, Apaha, Anala, Vayu, Kham, all of our bodies, unless there's someone who has a transcendental body here, which I doubt, it's just a joke. All of us in this material world have material bodies, which is earth, water, fire, air and ether. So all of us are made of those same elements as far as the body is concerned, gross body. All of our subtle bodies are made out of mind, intelligence and ego. So there also we are same. And as far as the soul is concerned, all of us are Satchit Ananda. We are eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, and part and parcel of the same Krishna. So all of us are from the same family. Then there could be, very, very small distinctions as to which part of the country or different parts of the world, the caste, the language, and so many things. But those don't matter, because they are like 1% of the whole analysis. 99% of our identity is the same, from the bodily perspective, gross and subtle, and from the soul's perspective. So Prahlad Maharaj saw from this level of vision, and therefore he couldn't see any difference. And because of these three qualities, Bhagavatam describes Bhagavata Tejasa Sprishtam. He was touched by the protective effulgence of the body of the Lord. Bhagavata, Bhagavanka, Tejasa Sprishtam. He was touched by the Tejasa, the Teja, the protective effulgence. Sprishtam. Sprisha, sparsha means to touch. He was touched by the effulgence, the protective effulgence coming from the body of the Lord. So this verse is in the first chapter of the 7th canto, where Prahlada Keshava Priyam, I think it is text 42 or 43. 42 and 43. 42 describe, it's the first introduction of Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto as Keshava Priyam, and 7.143 talks about the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. So this Prahlad Maharaj, who is so great, for him, Narasimhadev, he broke the pillar and he appeared. Krishna appears from a pillar. Who was the mother, who was the father for Narasimhadev? Pillar. He who can accept parents as Nanda and Yashoda and Kaushalya and Dasharath and Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata, that same Lord could have appeared in some other way, but he was so eager to reach Prahlad that he just broke a pillar and he came from there. He could have come from anywhere, but just because Prahlad pointed, he came. Whatever great souls decide, Krishna fulfills. One godbrother of Srila Prabhupada, by the name Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj from the Gaudiya Math, after Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur left, Srila Puri Maharaj, he moved to a place called Ambika Kalna. Very beautiful place. Lot of nice, beautiful pastimes are there. Gauridas Pandit's Mool Gaurnitai deities are there. Very nice. I remember going there many, many years ago. Many years. It's been a long time not been to Navadvip. So, Srila Puri Maharaj, he moved to Ambika Kalna after the departure of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And he was living there all by himself. He was doing madhukari, which means just begging for alms, and chanting all day. Seclusion. Nobody knew. But Srila Puri Maharaj had this desire that I want to celebrate Nityanand Trayodashi in a way that has never been celebrated in Ambika Kalna. It is my desire. But he didn't have any resource, he didn't have any manpower, no money, nothing. And he did not even make an announcement. No announcement, absolutely. So one godbrother somehow got to know. So he sent a disciple to Puri Maharaj. Said, please go and take care of my godbrother. He has a sankalpa that Nityanand Trayodashi is coming up. He wants to have such a big festival for Nityanand Trayodashi that Ambika Kalna, the whole village has never seen such a festival. Okay. So this disciple of the God brother, he went and he asked Puri Maharaj, Maharaj, is it true that you have such sankalpa? He said, yes, but how do you know? He said, my Gurudev told me. So how did he get to know? I think you told him. Okay, I may have told only my God brother, nobody else. So you're disciple of that God brother? Yes, I'm disciple of that God brother. Acha, theek hai. So the disciple came and he said, Puri Maharaj, do you have any money for this whole festival? He said, I don't have any money. Absolutely no money. I'm living as a renunciant. What money do I have? Okay, do you have any prasadam, any bhoga at least? How are we going to cook and feed all the Vaishnavas? I said, I don't have any. I said, how many devotees do you want to come and honor prasadam? He said, maybe 500 to 1,000 devotees. So this devotee said, but where will the anna come from? Where will the bhoga come from? I said, I don't know. Okay, at least do you have big cooking pots where this can be achieved? So I don't have that either. So how are we going to get all this? So Puri Maharaj said, don't worry, just chant Hare Krishna and make a desire to fulfill that desire. That's his problem. It's not our problem. Our duty is to simply make very wonderful plans and desires, and he will fulfill. So this disciple of the God brother of Puri Maharaj, he went around asking if there's anyone who can help. He went door to door asking, and one big landlord, he said, I don't have food grains at the moment, but I have a big go down where there are a lot of big cooking pots. I'll go and show you. I'll show you. You come with me. So he took him there to the go down, and there was a big place with a lot of big cooking vessels. He said, okay, this is wonderful. Let me get it. So he went there and he got the big cooking pot and he gave it to Puri Maharaj. Puri Maharaj said, now this is so big that we don't even have a place in our kutia, a small kuti to keep the pot. Living in a small place, bathing outside. Where is the place? See, don't worry, Maharaj, I will try to do something. Next day is Nityanand Trayodashi. No invitation gone anywhere, nothing. Then he sees early in the morning, there's a big queue, there's a big line of Vaishnavas standing. Some are standing with fruits, some are standing with rice, some are standing with vegetables. And it just kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So much so that Sevak, he mentions that it was such a big festival that 2 or 3 times of the number that Puri Maharaj had, he had kept sankalpa in his mind. So many Vaishnavas came and they honored prasadam, twice or thrice even. And he said so much anna came that we could have had a festival like this all 30 days of the month. Krishna made so much arrangement. So Puri Maharaj is so dear to Krishna that just by making a sankalpa in his mind and chanting sincerely, Krishna said, don't worry, I will make arrangement. Same with Srila Prabhupada. Our Prabhupada said, I have so many temples, I have so many disciples, so many books. 1966, when Prabhupada comes, he says, yes, only time is separating. Somebody would have thought that this sadhu from India, what is he talking about? But with time we saw, Prabhupada could see what nobody could see. Because Krishna was fulfilling. Prabhupada simply had to say, take a sankalpa, and it was done. So the point is here, Prahlad Maharaj simply had to point and say, yes, Vishnu is everywhere, but he's here also. And just because he said it, Narasimhadev, who could have appeared from anywhere, appeared from that pillar where Prahlad pointed. Satyam vidhatum nija bhritya bhashitam vyaptim cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmana adrishta tatyad bhutarupam udvahan stambhe sabhayam na mrigam na manusham. So the Bhagavatam describes, Shukadev Goswami describes that why did Narasimhadev come from that pillar? Only for one purpose. Satyam vidhatum nija bhritya bhashitam. My bhritya, my servant Prahlad has said, only to make that true, I will appear from that pillar. He could have appeared from any pillar. He could have come from, not just pillar, like as Varahadev, he came from the nostrils of Brahma. So it's interesting. He can come from anywhere. But Narasimhadev, he came from that pillar because Prahlad Maharaj pointed there. So whatever pure Vaishnavas take sankalpa, Bhagavata tejasas prishtam. They get protected. They get touched by the effulgence, protective potency of the Lord. So this is the position of Prahlad Maharaj. And that Prahlad Maharaj, when Narasimhadev appears and nobody is able to pacify him, Prahlad Maharaj walks up the ramp with folded palms and he offers prayers. So these prayers are very, very celebrated in the 9th chapter of the 7th canto. So I request all the devotees to move to a specific verse. I think it is verse number, canto 7, chapter 9, text 15. Let me just search and screen share. If I can be given the rights to screen share, I will be, yeah. It is canto 7, chapter 9, text 15. Very, very beautiful description has been given. So I'll screen share here. I hope everyone's able to see this. Prahlad Maharaj, who is so dear to the Supreme Lord, approaches Narasimhadev. He approaches Narasimhadev and he's offering these prayers. It's interesting, when Narasimhadev appears, all the demigods get frightened. Even Lakshmi Devi and Brahmaji and Shivji are not able to approach Narasimhadev. But Prahlad Maharaj, the 5-year-old child, approaches and offers such beautiful prayers. We are doing a few classes over the next few days on the weekends coming up to Narasimha Chaturdashi. So different prayers or different aspects of Narasimha Leela will be covered in different sessions. But today I would like to cover 2 specific verses out of these prayers with the background position of Prahlad Maharaj's devotion. We want to do text 15 and there's one more prayer. So after this I will take that. Let's chant this. This is very, very beautiful. It's a nice, you can put an asterisk next to this verse. It's a verse to meditate. It's a verse to memorize. It has nice, beautiful descriptions of Narasimhadev's form. Let me chant this. You all can chant. Please, I will chant and then you can hear it once and then we all can chant it together. Naham bibhemyajitate bhayanakasya jivharka netra bhrikutira bhasogradam strat antrasraja kshataja keshara shankho karnan niradabhida digivadari bhinna khagrat. Now let us all chant together. We can all be on mute and chant as loudly as possible from wherever we are joining in from. It's beautiful. Naham bibhemyajitate bhayanakasya jivharka netra bhrikutira bhasogradam strat antrasraja kshataja keshara shankhu karnat niradabhita digibhatari bhinna khagrat. One last time. Naham bibhemyajitate bhayanakasya jivharka netra bhrikutira bhasogradam strat antrasraja kshataja keshara shankhu karnat nirladabhita digivadari bhinna khagrat. So let us study this verse. Very, very beautiful verse. Prahlad Maharaj, who doesn't fear anyone or anything, as we were mentioning, he is always okay. In all plans of the Lord, he is always in 100% with no complaint whatsoever. So that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Na aham bibhemi, I do not fear. The word bibhemi means to fear, like bhaya. Aham means I, but na aham. So naham bibhemi, I do not fear. I do not fear what? Te. So the word te means tava. Tava te, your. I do not fear your characteristics, my Lord. Which means the different features of Narasimhadev. Actually, 10 things about Narasimhadev have been mentioned in this one verse. So if you memorize this verse, you can meditate on Narasimhadev very wonderfully. Very beautiful. Ugra Narasimhadev's form has been described in this verse of Bhagavatam. So, Naham bibhemi, I do not fear. Tava te, tava or te, means your. Like in Narsingha Arati, we say tava kara kama. So the tava there means your. It could also be replaced with te. So I do not fear your 10 characteristics which I am about to say. What are the 10 characteristics? The first is asya. Not asya. Asya, when you say it as ati bhayanakasya, then it's asya. But the root word is asya, which means face. But how is the face or the mouth of the Supreme Lord very specifically? How is the face or the mouth of the Supreme Lord? So when you see this apostrophe here, that is actually a. It is a replacement for a. So read this as a. So ati bhayanaka. Bhayanaka means fear-inducing, and ati means supremely. Ati bhayanaka means supremely fear-inducing, supremely ferocious, supremely intense, supremely fierce. I do not fear your 10 characteristics here, my Lord. What are the 10 characteristics? Ati bhayanaka asya. So when you put it together, it becomes ati bhayanaka asya. I do not fear your most ferocious, most fear-inducing mouth. So you can imagine, like big mouth, gaping mouth, with heavy breathing and sharp canine teeth, and face completely filled with sweat and perspiration by the fight with Hiranyakashipu. So beautiful. Hiranyakashipu may have given his best, but all that it took for Narasimhadev to finish Hiranyakashipu was the tip of his nails. Hiranyakashipu was so strong. My Guru Maharaj describes Hiranyakashipu was so strong that Indra used to throw in thunderbolt after thunderbolt, and it would touch the body of Hiranyakashipu and fall flat to the ground, and nothing would happen to Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu was that powerful. The thunderbolts of Indra were having no effect on his body. So what that actually means is the thunderbolt is the representation of electricity. So Hiranyakashipu can touch a live wire and nothing will happen to him. You can imagine, that's how powerful he was. And all that it took Narasimhadev to finish such a Hiranyakashipu was the tip of his nails. He didn't even survive to come up to the hand or the palms of the Lord. The tip of the nails. So the face of Narasimhadev is dripping with perspiration by tasting viryaras, chivalry, by running and catching and fighting and pinning this Hiranyakashipu down to the floor. You can imagine such a fight scene. Ati bhayanakasya. So the face, the gaping mouth and the sweating perspiration and golden face with so much effulgence. The second characteristic given is jivha. You can imagine in that gaping mouth, sharp tongue of Narasimhadev. Very, very sharp tongue. It's moving like a razor. It's coming out of the mouth like a razor. It's almost like Narasimhadev is fighting a battle with his tongue. And at the same time, when Hiranyakashipu's body is punctured by the fingernails of Narasimhadev, and Narasimhadev puts his fingernails in, and there's a splash of blood from the abdomen of Hiranyakashipu on the face of Narasimhadev. Like a lion, Narasimhadev is tasting the blood on his face with his tongue. So Narasimhadev's tongue moves out and licks his face of all the blood of Hiranyakashipu. So all of that is described by Jivha. How dangerous, how ferocious. And at the same time, Arka Netram. Netra means, this is the third characteristic. Netra means eyes and Arka means sun. Sun-like eyes, blazing. So how is the sun? So you can imagine, if the eyes are like the sun, what is the face like? What is the body like? For us, when we see the sun, which is crores and crores of miles, or whatever, 9.6 million miles away, the sun is away, and we need like goggles. Some quote-unquote superstars need goggle even at night. I don't know why, but anyway. So we need sunglasses and goggles during the daytime to protect us from the heat of the sun and the light of the sun. Narasimhadev is having sun fit as his eyes. He's walking with the effulgence of the sun in his eyes. And it can burn down anything. And it can set anything on fire. And it's illuminating the whole place. So that is the third characteristic. So first is the mouth or the face. The second is jivha, the tongue. The third is arkanetram, which means sun-like. Arka, of course, means sun, and netra means eyes. Yeah, my request is please stop scribbling on the screen. We are not kids anymore. We've already outgrown that age, so we have other things to do. The fourth thing is bhrukuti. Bhrukuti means eyebrows. So the meditation is Narasimhadev's eyebrows are frowning and moving like snakes, like big eyebrows moving like snakes, with so much emotion, with so much anger. That's the fourth. The fifth is damshtra. Damshtra means teeth. Narasimhadev has like canine teeth to rip open the body of his enemy. Sometimes when when I was a kid, I used to like to watch Animal Planet and National Geographic, and I used to like to see animals and different, especially these adventure, not hunters, but adventure travelers. They would go through different forests, and wildlife photographers speaking about which animal is where. Anyway, different ways to be in Maya, but that was one of them. So there I used to observe how sometimes they used to show the fight scene between, let's say a leopard or a lion and another creature, and he would just go and hold on to the back of the neck, and the animal would flap for some time, and then he's dead and gone. So if the teeth of an animal of this world has so much power to put an end to life, we can't even imagine Damshtra, the teeth of Narasimhadev, what he can do with his teeth. What he can do with his teeth. There was another animal that I was asked to research about during my school days, my science project. And at that time I was shocked to know about a certain animal. When you throw a whole watermelon into the mouth, it can crush it just by its mouth. You throw a whole big watermelon into the mouth, and it can very quickly crush just by the movement of his jaws. So how powerful. Even animals of this world are very powerful. You can imagine sharks ripping open aquatics. So teeth is their bite strength is very powerful. Even crocs, for that matter, crocodiles are very powerful. They have such sharp teeth and very fast reflexes with jaw capacity. Where is all that coming from? Janma adyasya yataha. It is all coming from me, says Krishna. But not in Vrindavan. He is busy eating, mridam, mrid bhakshan. In Vrindavan, he is eating mrid. He is eating makhan misri, and he is stealing butter from the neighbor's house. So he doesn't need that jaw capacity. But it's actually Narasingha Leela, which is the source of that jaw capacity for any animal. So whenever you see any of that, it should immediately remind us of Damshrat, the teeth of Narasimha Dev. But how are those teeth? There are two adjectives given to the teeth. It's interesting to see that when the face or the mouth has been described, there is only one adjective, bhayanaka, right? Ferocious. When the eyes are described, only one adjective, and that is sun-like. But when the teeth are described, damshtra or damsh, Narasimhadev being damshtri, having the teeth, sharp teeth, then two adjectives have been described. One is rabhasa, which means strong, and one is ugra, which means ferocious. So that talks about the jaw capacity and the tearing capacity of the teeth, both. You see, rabhasa talks about the jaw capacity of Narasimhadev, and ugra talks about the tearing capacity of the canine teeth. So those teeth, we should pray to the teeth of Narasimhadev, that my Lord, please rip open my anarthas. If you're so strong, how am I still in this world? It is because I'm not approaching you enough. Right? Narasimhadev should give us a lot of a lot of happiness in the heart. Lot of happiness. That my Lord is so strong. Why am I even complaining about my anarthas and my lust and my greed and my pride? What is impossible for my Lord to rip open? He's so strong. Is my Narasimhadev more stronger than Maya Shakti? Oh, of course. We say, oh, I am in Maya, I am lazy, I am distracted, I am deviated. Well, because we are not approaching this powerhouse of strength. We should pray to him. So Asya was one, Jibha was the second, Netra was the third, Bhrukuti was the fourth, and Damshtra, the teeth, was the fifth. Now let's go to the sixth. Antrasrajaha. So the word sraja means garland. You can see there's another beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. See, here also the word sraja comes. Do you see? Krishna has been described here in 10.14.1, and the word used is Vanya Sraja. Sraja means garland. What kind of garland is Krishna wearing? Vanya, forest flower garland. So Vanya Sraje Kavalavetra Vishana Veno. So this describes the beauty, the softness, the innocence of Krishna in Vrindavan. And this represents the Aishwarya ferociousness of the Supreme Lord. So here it is described Vanya Sraje. Krishna wears a garland of Vana, forest flowers. And what kind of garland is Narasimhadev wearing? Antra. Antra means Hattadi, which means intestine. He's wearing a garland of intestines. Antrasrajaha. Interesting. Very interesting. Why is he wearing a garland of intestines? Because, well, when a guest comes in, we should offer him a garland. But Hiranyakashipu did not have any garland. He didn't have any culture. So Narasimhadev said, well, there are Athithi. I am a Athithi. Athithi Devo Bhava. For us, we say that we should consider Athithi, guests, to be the Supreme Lord. But, well, the Supreme Lord only came as the guest for Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu did not even have a garland. Because in the court of Hiranyakashipu, nobody garlands anybody. Because you need some culture for that. So there are no garlands, there's no flowers, nothing. So Narasimhadev said, well, some culture must be there. Because he's coming from a cultured background. Narasimhadev is very cultured. He's always giving blessings, smiling and keeping Lakshmi on the lap, and like a good boy, he's blessing everybody. Narasimhadev. So he comes from a cultured background, but Hiranyakashipu didn't have so much culture. So Narasimhadev said, well, no problem. There's a garland hidden in everybody's body, and I know to access it. It's like a stepney. When there's a puncture in the tire, I keep an extra stepney in the trunk, so I know when to access it. So he pulls it out and he says, no worries. Hiranyakashipu, as you're dying, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. That's one pushpa, but you have offered me the whole garland. Don't worry. Point number one. Point number two, whenever we speak something with intensity, the voice comes from the abdomen. We know that, right? When we say something very shallow, it comes from the lips, lip service. Something even more deeper comes from the throat. Something even more deeper comes from the heart. And something very deep comes from the abdomen. When we speak something very intensely, it comes from the abdomen. So Hiranyakashipu intensely spoke only two things. Kill Vishnu and kill Prahlad. Kill Vishnu and kill Prahlad. Kill Vishnu and kill Prahlad. This is what his meditation was. So in his whole body, there was only one part which was purified by that sound vibration, and that was the intestine. So he said, okay, I will pull it up and I will take it. Don't worry. My Guru Maharaj was explaining that when Narasimhadev ripped open Hiranyakashipu, he opened, he did a gastrointestinal surgery. He ripped him. So when Narasimhadev ripped Hiranyakashipu, the Pitrus, the forefathers, the Pitru, those from the Pitru Lokas, they came and they said, when all the pinda is performed, we are supposed to get the fruit. But Hiranyakashipu used to direct all of that to him. So whenever you accept something, it goes in the stomach. So my Lord, thank you so much for ripping that stomach and giving us our pinda back. You understand? When something is supposed to, when we perform Shraddha, when we perform Pindadan, it goes to, the forefathers. Um, so they came to Narasimhadev and said, Hiranyakashipu used to eat up our offerings. Instead of giving it to us, he used to eat it up. So then you have ripped open his abdomen to give that offering back to us. Thank you. So that was the surgery. So this is the sixth thing. You can imagine Narasimhadev, very beautiful. Actually, this is the verse on the basis of which the famous Narasimha painting was done. UNESCO, the famous Narasimha painting. You will see all of these aspects in that Narasimha painting. Very famous. The very famous one, where Narasimhadev is ripping open Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaja is garlanding. That description comes from this verse of the Bhagavatam. So this is the sixth one, Antrasrajaha. Now the seventh, very interesting, is Kshataja Keshara. Now the word Kshata in Sanskrit means bruise. To have some bruise, to have some wound, to have some hurt, to have some cut. Right? Kshata means to be hurt. Sometimes we are playing and we may get hurt and blood starts coming from the scratch. That's called Kshata. So the word Kshatriya means someone who fights the opponent to protect the citizens from getting Kshata. Kshatriya. Kshatrayate iti. He who protects the subjects from being hurt. Protects them. So Kshata means hurt. And Ja in Sanskrit means Janma. So what happens when we are hurt? Let's say there's a cut in the hand or there's a bruise in the hand. Ja, what takes birth? Blood. So therefore Kshataja means blood. That which appears from a wound, right? When there's some cut or there's some bruise, what happens? Who appears? Blood appears. So Kshataja means blood. And Keshara, Keshari or Keshara means lion. So what is the definition of a lion? The mane on the face. So Kshataja refers to blood and Keshara refers to the beard and the mustache and the mane of a lion. So this Kshataja Keshara represents blood dripping through the beard and the mane and the face of Narasimhadev. You can imagine, he has just ripped open Hiranyakashipu and there's blood dripping through his body, through his face. Very ferocious description. Very ferocious. Blood of Hiranyakashipu is dripping through the mane, to the you could say the transcendental beard of Narasimhadev. And the eighth description is Shankhu Karanat. Shankhu Karanat. Narasimhadev's ear, you see, they're facing upward. They go like this. Karana. Karana means ears, and they go upward. So that's the eighth description. Quite ferocious. You see, each of these things are very, very dangerous to look at. To see a very widely open, gaping mouth, very fearful. To see sword-like tongue, very fearful. Arkanetram, to see somebody's eyes like the sun, very fearful. To see somebody's frowning, snake-like moving eyebrows, very fearful. So to see sharp teeth which are having strong jaw capacity and very sharp tearing capacity, very fearful. Antrasraja, imagine someone running towards you with a garland of intestines. Very, very fearful. You see someone whose face is dripping with blood. Very fearful. Someone who has ears which are, little different from ours, like shaping upward, like a ferocious lion. Very fearful. 8 done. Now the ninth is Nirada Bhita Digibad. So in Sanskrit the word Lada means happiness. And Nirlada means that which doesn't give us happiness, which means a roar, which never gives us happiness. Instead, it gives bhiti. It makes us fearful. Not just us, Digibad. Even big elephants, they get scared by a roar of a lion. By a majestic roar of a lion. Imagine if you're going somewhere and you hear the roaring of a lion. Just one roar. Immediately everyone's like, wait a minute, did you hear that? It's a scare-inducing, fear-inducing roar. Especially for Narasimhadev. When Narasimhadev was roaring, it is described that elephants were running in the wild forest for their life, and female elephants were having miscarriage, thinking that a big lion is chasing us. And by the breathing of Narasimhadev, there were high tides in the ocean, it is described. That's how ferocious Narasimhadev was. And the 10th is Nakha. How can we forget the nails of Narasimhadev? The sharp, intense nails which can tear open the body of Hiranyakashipu, who was not even attacked by, he was not even, in any way harmed even by the series of thunderbolts of Indra. But these nails could, not just nails, look at the word, Nakha. Actually, the word Nakha means nails. But not just nails, Agra. Agra means the tip of those nails. And how are they? Aribhit. In Sanskrit, the word bhit means to tear open, and Ari means enemy. So, Nakhagra, the tip of those nails which can tear open any enemy. So, these are the 10 aspects of Narasimhadev's form, and because of which a very beautiful word has been described, Ajita. My Lord, nobody can defeat you. You see? So we covered all the words of this verse. Such a beautiful verse. This is how you memorize verses, not just repeating it. But when you understand, it's a beautiful. Now this one verse can stay in our heart, and every time we are singing Narsimharati, you can chant this. Naham bibhemi, which means, oh my Lord, I do not fear. Te, your ati bhayanakasya, your very ferocious mouth and face. Jivha, your tongue. Arkanetra, your sun-like eyes. Bhrikuti, your eyebrows. Rabhaso gradam strat, or your very strong and intense teeth. Antrasraja, your garland of intestines. Kshatajake, blood dripping through your face. Or Shankho Karnat, or your ears which are shaped upwards. Nirlada Bhita Dighibat, or your roar which can make even elephants cry. Aribhed Nakhagrat, or your the tip of your nails which can rip open even enemies. And therefore, my Lord, you are Ajita. Jita means he who can be won over. Ajita, he who can never be won over. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, it's very, very interesting that Prahlad Maharaj is saying that, okay, I'll move to another verse and it's a very interesting section. Prahlad prayer starts from, I think, 8 and it goes for about 40 verses. But I'm searching for one prayer which Srila Prabhupada used to really like. Yes, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. So, this is 7.9.43. We'll discuss this real quick and then we will wrap it up for today. So, we were mentioning that Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I am not afraid of this form, my Lord. These 10 aspects which are fear-inducing for everyone, Naham bibhemi. I am not afraid. Then it's almost like Narasimhadev is asking Prahlad Maharaj, aren't you afraid? Okay, you're saying you're not afraid of me. Aren't you afraid of repeated birth and death? Aren't you afraid of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi? Aren't you afraid of coronavirus? Aren't you afraid of anything of this world? To which he says something very interesting. He answers that here in 7.9.43. He says, Naiva na eva udvija. He says, na, which means no. Eva, indeed, udvija. I am not agitated. I am not afraid. About what? Vaitaranyas. I am not afraid of Vaitarani. Vaitarani is the river that we have to cross to go beyond the material existence. So I am not, na eva udvije, I am not agitated or I am not scared about going para, going beyond Vaitarani, the Vaitarani river, which is Duratyaya, which is very, very difficult to overcome. You see, how many get liberated? Hardly anyone. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana. hardly anybody gets liberated. One person maybe. So here Prahlad Maharaj is saying, I am not agitated, I am not afraid about para, about crossing over Vaitaranyas, the Vaitarani river, which is Duratyaya, which is very difficult to cross. I am not afraid. Why? Because, my Lord, everyone please, from wherever you are, please repeat this line. Tvat virya gayana mahamrita magna chittaha. Yes. So he says, I am not afraid of repeated birth and death because I am sure I am getting liberated. How come you're so confident? Because Tvat, my Lord, your virya, your pastimes and qualities, gayana, the process of singing and chanting your glories, which is like a Maha Amrita, which is like a great ocean of nectar, in that Magna Chittaha, my mind is drowning. My mind, Chittaha, is Magna, is drowning in the Maha Amrita, is in the great ocean of Tvad Virya Gayana, in the process of singing your qualities. Because my mind is constantly absorbed singing and speaking and chanting about you, therefore I have no concern about my liberation. Na eva udvijay. I am not fearing para, crossing Vaitarani river, which is Duratyaya. I have no fear about crossing the river of birth and death, because the secret is Twadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Magna Chitta. My mind is always absorbed in speaking about you and singing about you, and Gayana, in singing about you and chanting about you. But what my fear is, what I really am struggling with, Shoche, what I am lamenting about, is Vimukha Chetasa. Those personalities who are atheistic. Vimukha means face outward. Those who face inward towards Krishna are called Unmukha. And those who have their face away from Krishna are called Vimukha, right? Viruddha Mukha, or whose face has Bahirmukha. So Shoche, my dukkha, my fear, my lamentation is for whom? Vimukha Chetasa, those whose minds are away from you, my Lord. Naturally, what do? They become Vimudan. They become foolish. When they turn away from light, they are in darkness. When they turn away from intelligence, they are foolish. Why would you call them foolish, O Prahlad? Because he says, Bharam Udvahato. They are carrying the weight of family life. They are carrying the weight of husband, wife, children, parents, job, home, savings, responsibilities. Bharam. They are carrying burden. When someone is not, doesn't have to, but you still carry a certain kind of weight, that is called burdensome. So, Bharam Udvahato, they are carrying a certain kind of weight. So then Narasimhadev is saying, but they find that to be pleasing, isn't it? It's nice to be in a family and it's a lot of pleasure. Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, there is Sukha, no doubt, but it is Maya Sukha. It is illusory happiness. When you're not inside it, you're eager to enter. And once you enter, you're waiting to exit. So Maya Sukhaya, there is no pleasure. And why it is Maya Sukhaya? Because Indriya Artha. The pleasures are only given to the senses but not to the soul. When the pleasure is given to the soul, one will actually be happy. When the food is given to the bird, then the bird will be nourished. If you simply clean the cage and keep the bird hungry, then the bird will die. So the bird is the soul and the cage are the senses. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Indriyartha, the pleasure is given to the senses. The cleaning of the cage is taking place, but the bird of the soul is not being fed. So therefore it is Maya Sukha, and they are carrying this weight, and therefore they are Vimuda, and this is my concern. I am really concerned about such people. I have no problem about myself. I am going back home, back to Godhead, because my mind, by the way, these are words of Prahlad. Someone don't please take it out of context. I am not saying it. Prahlad Maharaj is saying it. He's telling Narasimhadev that I have no concern about my upliftment, because Tvat Virya Gayana Mahamrita Magna Chitta. I am constantly singing about you. But what I really fear, I don't fear your form. I don't fear my liberation, but I fear their future. I fear the future of Vimukha, those who are turning away from you and trying to rub their senses for some pleasure, Maya Sukha, and carrying the burden of family life and conditional life. So my concern is for them. So in this way, Prahlad Maharaj has chanted many, many prayers in the Prahlad Stuti. And with different sessions, we'll cover, Krishna willing, we will try to see how much we can cover. But in today's session, just to quickly recap what we did in the last 90 minutes, we spoke about what the 7th canto deals about. We spoke about how it talks about Shubh and Ashubh Ichha, the two kinds of uti, the two kind of swabhav that come face to face in the 7th canto. We spoke about the characteristics of Prahlad Maharaj, because of which he's Keshava Priyam, or he's dear to Keshava. We mentioned how the Supreme Lord loves Prahlad and therefore he came from the pillar. And then in the prayers of Prahlad, we covered 2 verses. The first verse talks about the different beautiful features of Narasimha body. But Prahlad Maharaj says, I don't fear it. So do you fear material existence? No, I don't fear that either, because I have the boat of your holy name and your qualities. But what I fear is the future of Vimhudan, these fools who are turning away from you. And what future do they have? That is what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. Srila Prabhupada, to conclude, says a very, very beautiful point. He says, any child will get scared. Right? If you go near a child and you start making just ghost sounds, they start getting scared. They don't do it. I'm getting scared. You know, kids like they get scared. But Prahlad Maharaj, 5 years old, he's saying, Naham bhibemi, I don't fear. And Srila Prabhupada gives a reason why. Very beautiful. Srila Prabhupada says, you take an elephant and you keep the elephant in the middle of a river. The elephant gets scared by the stream of the water, whether it will be swept away. But on the other hand, small fishes in that water, they don't get afraid. They don't get fearful. Why? Because they have taken shelter of that water. They are a water creature. So Prabhupada says that Narasimha is like the stream of water and Hiranyakashipu is like a big elephant. Because he has not taken shelter in that water, he is fearful and he's swept. But Prahlad Maharaj is so small like a fish. He doesn't fear that water because he has taken shelter in the stream of Narasimha bhakti. So therefore, even if we are very small, if we take shelter of the river of the Supreme Lord's glories, we will be protected. But on the other hand, we can have all the characteristics of Hiranyakashipu winning over the world outside. But if we are not sheltered in the water of the Lord's glories, by the current, the river current of time, we will be swept away. So I'll pause here for today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.